name is Uzo Umeh, and I sell tacos for a living.
Well, the name El Padrino, it sounds really interesting. What was the motivation? What inspired the name?
There's actually two stories where the name came from. The first is from my favorite rapper, Jay-Z, and in his album Holy Grail, he uses the word El Padrino a lot. El Padrino. It's one of my favorite words. And the second one was because I thought I could build something that would lead the fresh, fast, casual movement in Nigeria, and that's what we're doing. El Padrino means the Godfather, and as you know, the Godfather is the backbone in anything that we're doing in society or in the family. So yeah, that's where the name came from.
That's interesting. So why did you bank on yourself and start this business?
I think in life, when you find something that wakes you up every morning and something that you can't stop thinking about, it's what they consider a purpose. So for me, I decided that I wanted to bring Mexican cuisine to Nigeria and do it well with fresh ingredients, with local ingredients, and with a lot of love. So yeah, I banked on myself because realistically, I woke up every day in 2015 thinking about starting a restaurant in Nigeria in 2017.
So how has the journey been so far? You know, your highs, your lows, the challenges. What's it been like?
I think for me, my journey at El Padrino has been somewhere in between feeling fear and having faith. Some of the lows, I would say, have to do with people doubting your idea. I think for me, you know, it took 5 years for us to get here, and every year it felt like we had to explain to people who we were and prove our value. So in a lot of meetings, I was told that this would never work. I was told that Nigerians would not buy Mexican food, and I was told that I should just keep it as a pop-up. So all of my lows lie somewhere in between that. Also not being taken seriously as a female restaurateur. A lot of people just kind of figured, you know, this was a hobby for me. So I think for the last 4 years, it was a lot of trying to combat that, that doubts from other people. The highs definitely has been building this community, slowly but surely growing the brand. And I would definitely say the two biggest highs that we've had so far was our California tour. That was awesome. And then open up the restaurant in April. So yeah, I think that's for me, the highs and the lows. It's always somewhere between faith and fear.
What would you say has been your greatest achievement so far?
This is actually my favorite question and the easiest one for me to answer. There's two of them. The biggest achievement I have is my team. They are the backbone of this company. They are the ones that keep me excited. They are the sunlight in my life. And the next would have to be my community. They're the guys that show up every day for us. Some of them, you know, here in this room today. But yeah, I think our greatest achievement in El Padrino is the team that we're building and the community that comes with that.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, speaking about Chipper now, how has Chipper impacted your business?
Chipper has actually been a very good blessing for us, especially because we like to think of ourselves as a global brand. So we have customers that are not only based in Nigeria, but they're based all over. So for us, having that borderless feel has been quite fantastic. We use the virtual USD cards for our Facebook ads, which make it easy for budgeting, which make it easy for marketing. We use our scan to pay at our cash register, which makes it easier because we're a cashless community and we're a cashless business. And me, in the food industry, you know that there's a lot of money movements. So I always have to send money to my staff so that they can send to vendors. And when you send 10 transfers in a day, you really need a partner that's giving you free transfers for those. So for me, I think in the easiest way to just say how Chipper has impacted us is to look at how it's helped our operations. So we've been able to have our virtual card, which helps us out in our virtual USD card, which helps us out in our administrative and marketing duties, and transferring cash, which makes it easier for me to send money to my petty cash to my staff, and the scan to pay, which makes it easier for my customers. So 3 things that we care about: the vendors, the staff, and our customers.
You've done great so far, but what are your aspirations going forward? Like, what is the end goal of El Padrino?
The end goal for El Padrino is a lot harder to just sum it up in one sentence, but I will say generally economic mobility. I think that at the end of the day, if people within our circle, whether they're vendors, whether they're customers, whether they're our team members, can grow economically from this institution that we're building, then that would be great. But realistically, when I moved to Nigeria from California, the entire plan was to build a global brand. We've now moved on to doing tours stateside. 80% of our followers are Nigerians, but the other 20% are spread across Europe and North America. So we're not going to stop in just Lagos. We're not going to stop in just Nigeria. We're going to build a brand that in the next 10 to 20 years, our children can work in, anywhere in the world.
So what would you say to a young entrepreneur who is trying to start, some business in this same line of work? What would you say to the person?
So personally, this quote when they say, if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. I think that's a half truth. It doesn't tell the whole story. You will work a lot of days, you will work a lot of nights. But the truth is, if you love what you do, then it really doesn't feel like work. So if you want to get into the food industry, understand that you need passion. It's a very trying industry. In America, there's about 90% of a failure rate for it. But if you want to do it and bank on yourself.